When you hear the word future, what is it that comes into your mind? There are people who might be thinking unknown. There are people who would be thinking opportunities, possibilities. There are people who would be thinking challenges, threats. However you think, there's one fact. You cannot stop the future, and it is coming. We all wait for the future to come, but there are people who predict and who try to figure out how the future would be. And these people are called futurists. You must have read the book Abundance. If not, Bold. You've heard about Peter Diamandis, Steven Kotler. They've come up with a third book. The book is The Future is Faster Than You Think. This is Vinod Narayan. You're watching Pen Positive. Let's talk about the future is faster than you think. If you have not subscribed, do subscribe and I'll come back. The future is faster than you think. How converging technologies are transforming business, industries, and lives. Peter Diamandis and Steven Kotler. Peter and Steven had written the book Abundance. If you have read it, you know that Abundance was a book in which they told that the exponential technologies, the growth, the accelerating technologies are changing the way we work, we live, and it's changing both our work and life. It's changing industries. It is disrupting industries. And you should look at that opportunity and change your mindset from being a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. And in the second book, Bold, they were saying that these accelerating exponential technologies enable you to come up with innovative ideas that could impact the world. You could come up with ideas that would change the life of 1 billion people. And the core theme was that if you had an idea that takes care of a problem that the masses, a lot of people have, then that is $1 billion opportunity. Now here, what they're saying is the future is faster than we think. And the reason for that is, I think there's a mind shift again happening from exponential accelerating technology to the convergence of exponential technologies. Here, we are not talking about accelerating technologies. Yes, technology is accelerating. But when two exponential technologies, both accelerating, are converging, then marketplaces are created. Existing industries don't exist anymore. Companies close shop. They talk about how convergence, how we should be looking at convergence and see how this convergence is going to impact our future. Now, what they do is that after explaining about acceleration technologies and about convergence, they go through a rebirth of everything. They go through each of these industries and try to tell us what are the possibilities, what are the changes, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities available in those industries. They talk about the future of shopping, the future of advertising, the future of entertainment, movies. How are movies going to be tomorrow? They're talking about education. They're talking about the future of healthcare, finance, insurance, banking. You name an industry, they're talking about it. They're talking about longevity. We have longer lives than most of our ancestors. And still, that's not the stop for it. There are projects going on to make us live beyond the points that we know that human beings can live. So there's a lot of research happening, a lot of changes happening. And many times when we read this, we think that these are probably sci-fi. That's where I've seen it before. But many of the things that we still believe are sci-fi, movie, fiction material are happening in reality. It might be happening in reality in the lab. It might be happening in reality in closed tests. And the only reason we are not seeing it is because it has not become commercially viable yet. So it is practically possible. So they've cracked the code. Now the question is, how can you make it commercially viable so people like you and me can start using it? And that's when disruption happens. And you might think that if something is practically possible, there might be a long wait time before it can be commercially viable. The fact is no. Because I remember I used to work for Singularity University for about a year plus. And this was Singularity University is a company that Peter Diamandis and Ray Kurzweil and all started. And it was an interesting for me to introduce this book. I have a special interest in that because I've worked with Singularity University, company founded by Peter, and I've become a big fan of him since I read Abundance. Because these are people who talk about future and give us a hope. I mean, amidst all the negativity that happens in the news and everything, there is a sense of hope. It gives us a feeling that all is not bad. If we look into the future, there is a possibility, there's an opportunity for us to survive, and not just survive, to even thrive. So at that time when I was in Singularity, I met someone with whom I had a discussion about the meat industry, and he was talking about bioreactors which could generate steak. And the interesting thing was, at that time he was telling me that one piece of steak, 1 pound of steak or something, would cost about $10,000. And here in the chapter Future for Food, I mean, they're not talking about $10,000, and they're talking about a much lesser amount. Even now it's not commercially viable yet, but you're talking about within a year. Within a year, the price of production has been slashed by 50-60%. And yes, you're not going to buy a pound of meat even now, a pound of steak even now, if it's going to cost you $400. But yes, tomorrow it might be commercially viable, much faster than what we think. So the technology is accelerating technologies are converging, things are being found, innovated, and then it is made commercially viable faster than we can think. So in totality, the future is faster than we think. You should read Peter Diamandis and Steven Kotler, The Future is Faster Than You Think. It would change your perspective about what the future is. And if you are someone who is trying to figure out what is the next big idea, reading this book, it would give you an opportunity to look around and see this world differently and the future differently. Maybe you would be the person who's going to create solutions for some of the problems that we have and make the next billion-dollar company. Who knows? You take care. This is Vinod Narayan, and you're watching Pen Positive. Thank you.